Do you know what the gases are that make up our atmosphere? A large percentage of our atmosphere is nitrogen. We need nitrogen to make proteins and to make our DNA. Every day we breathe in all that nitrogen, and yet we aren't able to use any of it because it's not in the right form. So how do we get our nitrogen? 78% of our atmosphere is nitrogen and 21% is oxygen. Nitrogen gas enters the soil through a couple of different ways. Legume plants such as peas, beans, peanuts, and soybeans have a symbiotic relationship with specialized bacteria living in nodules on their roots. These bacteria are nitrogen fixers and perform a process called nitrogen fixation. Nitrogen fixation converts atmospheric nitrogen into a form of nitrogen that plants can absorb from the soil. So that's how plants get their nitrogen, but how do consumers get their nitrogen? Well, we have to eat it. The protein that we eat is our nitrogen source. When an organism urinates, nitrogen is returned to the soil and can be reused by plants. Also, when an organism dies, decomposers transform the nitrogen in proteins and other compounds into ammonia. Another way that nitrogen enters the soil is when lightning strikes, it will convert or fix atmospheric nitrogen into nitrates that plants are able to absorb. So now we know how nitrogen gets into the soil from the atmosphere, but how does it get back to the atmosphere to complete the cycle? The last step in the nitrogen cycle is denitrification. Denitrifying soil bacteria can convert fixed nitrogen back into nitrogen gas, which returns to the atmosphere. So that's the cycle. Atmospheric nitrogen can enter the soil when lightning strikes, or nitrogen-fixing bacteria convert atmospheric nitrogen. Plants absorb the fixed nitrogen. Consumers eat the plants containing the nitrogen. When consumers die, decomposers break down the tissues from the animal. And finally, denitrifiers convert the nitrogen back into an atmospheric gas. That's the whole cycle.